I know that every art project I say, it's super fun, but this time is super fun. We're gonna be doing abstract portrait. Woo-hoo. Let's go! Okay, I hope you are ready for a really fun art lesson today. We're going to be creating abstract portraits, but before we get too deep into this, let's go ahead and do our art motto. So, here we go. I will try my best, I will be creative, and I will problem solve. All right, so you might be asking yourself, Mrs. Fred, what is abstract art? And I'm here to tell you that it's really, really fun because instead of making something look exactly realistic, it's more about using lines, shapes, colors, and patterns to make kind of a feeling. Well, we're going to take that style of art and we are going to create portraits. We're going to use lots of colors and lots of other elements of art. So let's talk about those elements of art because those are the tools that we use in order to create these wonderful things. Our geometric shapes are the shapes that we've kind of seen our whole lives. We've seen them in math. We know their names. They have ways that we can measure all the way around them, and a lot of times they are symmetrical. So, the organic shapes are also known as free-form shapes, and they're made-up shapes. A lot of times you'll see them in nature, and they can be made any way you like, just by taking a line and connecting it back to itself. Now, we're going to also be using pattern in this art lesson. So you might be asking, what is pattern, Mrs. Fred? Well, pattern is when a line or a shape or a color repeats over and 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 over again. That's also called repetition, and that's a faster way to say it. So let's take a look at some things that have pattern. Check it out. Do you see how the polka dots repeat over and over, have repetition? Yes, this pattern is repeated circles. The next one is repeated shapes as well. Look, the white lines come together to make a repeated fancy shape. But then there's one more. Check it out. Now, this pattern is a little bit different than our polka dots or the blue and white one that we just saw. This one repeats flowers in a certain arrangement so that it covers all over. But it does repeat all over, and it repeats and it repeats and it repeats and it repeats, but it's just using different flowers. So you are going to have a wonderful time creating these masterpieces of portraits. Oh, did I forget to remind you what a portrait is? Oh my gosh, a portrait is simply a picture of someone else. So before we've done self-portraits, that was a picture of me, made by me, but today you are going to make portraits, and you get to choose whether you're going to do a portrait of an animal or a person. And I cannot wait to get started with these because they are super fun. I cannot wait. So let's get going. Today in art, I can create an abstract animal or person. I will use 3 of each of these to create my art. I will use 3 geometric shapes, 3 organic shapes, and 3 patterns. And I will begin to understand abstract art. Okay, before I got started, I practiced making heads, shapes out of organic and geometric shapes, and I also did that with eyes, ears, mouths, and nose, and now I am starting up by just choosing an organic shape, and that will be my head. Did you notice how big I drew? Make sure you're drawing big enough to fill your page. Then I started with an eye right in the middle of my head, and I chose one that I had already practiced, but next time I might choose one that I make up right on the spot. Look how I'm using different shapes. I have some organic shapes and some geometric shapes mixed in. This is what makes your artwork look interesting. And that's called variety when you use different types of things in your artwork. Next up, I'm going to use some organic shapes to make a nose. And I'm going to use some circles for a cheek. Now make sure you're using your 3 organic shapes, 3 geometric shapes, and then later on we'll get to the pattern. You can make your mouth any way you like. Okay, for my hair, I'm using long, wavy lines. You might want to choose something different. If you have short hair, you can always use short zigzag lines. Okay, I need you to check Mrs. Fred's work. Did I get at least 3 geometric shapes? And did I get at least 3 organic shapes? Did I get my pattern in? Oop, no pattern yet. How about when we add color? I added pattern to my eyebrows and my ears and underneath my eye and on my neck. Where will you add pattern to yours? Okay, now to create my animal, I chose 2 different head shapes and I stacked them on top of each other. Then what I did is started adding my details like eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. Don't forget to make sure you are using at least 3 geometric shapes on your animal and at least 3 organic shapes on your animal. And then when it's time to color, you will need at least 3 patterns. And then you will have met your goal for this artwork. Okay, I had way too much fun doing this. I created a bunch of these. I loved using the shapes and patterns to make my artwork not realistic, but abstract. Now, here's one that Charlie did. Whoa, so awesome. Have a great week and keep on arting.